This calls for uncivilized weaponry. Intonation.
Hey practice buddies, today we are going to learn about intonation, otherwise known as playing in tune. How do we know that we're playing in tune? That we are placing our fingers on the fingerboard correctly? The violin is not like the guitar, which has these frets. To play the right notes on the guitar, you've just got to place the fingers between the frets. That's a lot of space. You'll have no problem hitting that. That's like hitting an attack with a bazooka. But how do you do that on the violin? Getting your aim right on the violin is a bit like shooting a blaster one-handed down a corridor and hitting a stormtrooper 100 meters away. And then doing it again and again. Now that is hard. Well, that's where aim comes in. In this lesson, I am going to teach you to aim with millimeter accuracy. Here, I have a student violin. Shout out to Eva, by the way. She's doing great and hitting all her targets. Well done, Eva. As you can see, this student violin has stickers on the fingerboard, and that's quite okay. That's like having a target to hit with your fingers. This is great for students and really useful. My violin doesn't have those, but as you get used to playing in tune, you can start taking the stickers off because you'll be able to hit that target every single time, even with your eyes closed. In this video, we'll cover how to place your fingers on those stickers correctly. So once you have your stickers on and your violin is perfectly in tune, you need to download a tuning app. I use Clear Tune, and once you've done that, you want to choose a starting note. Like maybe the starting note of a tune you really like. But if you are a beginner, you might want to choose a simple note, like 3 on G, which is a C. So let's go ahead and play 3 on G. So we want to put our third finger on the third sticker on G string. Let's go ahead and do that. That gives our starting note of C, but how do we know that we're actually playing the correct note? Well, that's where the tuning app comes in. So we want to aim our 3 on G Now if the app is not dead on green, you are either aiming too high or too low. In this case, we're aiming too high, which is why we've gone past the C. So we want to roll our finger down to the C. Now our aim is too low, so we want to get that finger rolled back up, and we're talking about a millimeter of distance here, like a little bit of skin from the finger rolling back up to make sure we get that C. Once we hit that note, we can start getting used to the sound of that note, and we can start to understand whether we're going too high or too low without having to use the app. And that's the real key here. We want to play this as many times as we need so that we get used to hearing it correctly. Then we can not use the app and also remove the stickers eventually. So let's try that again. Let's go up to the C. So now that we've hit the C and we're happy with it, we will choose our next note. In this case, we'll choose a 2 on D, which is going to be an F. So here, we've gone a little bit high, so we've got to bring the finger back a little bit. And we're going a little bit too low now. So we've got to go back up to the F. A lot of people will not spend more than a few seconds on a note. If you are willing to spend 30 seconds to 40 seconds per note, let's say you're playing a scale, like a G major scale, then you'll start having really good results if you do that every day. Let's try that G major scale, shall we? Now, when I did that G major scale, I hadn't actually tuned my violin, so the open strings were a little bit low. What I did was I adjusted the open strings using my finger. Now that's an advanced technique, but what I really should have done was tune my violin beforehand. So, as a responsible violin Jedi, that's what I will now do. Okay, so I've tuned the violin, but it's not all about scales. Scales are very important, but it's a bit like when we're training to be violin Jedi. We have to go to the firing range and shoot our blasters at stationary targets. Playing a piece is like being in the field and being under fire and hitting those targets, right? Let's go ahead and continue with the piece that we were working on, which is started on a 3 on G, which is a C, and then goes to the 2 on D, which is an F. So we're starting with the 3 on G. And then we're going to the F. Let's go to 2 on A now. Then low 1 on A, which is B flat. And then A. It doesn't like my A. My A feels a bit flat to the machine, but to my ear it sounds okay. Or I will shift up and do it on a 2 on D in 3rd position, which is actually a little more stable. So let's join those together. So, using an app to tune your notes is a little bit like going down a rabbit hole, a dangerous rabbit hole, because it's a machine, and machines are very, very precise. What you don't want to do is rely just on the machine. What you want to do is use the force. So that means use your hearing, your eyesight, so your eyesight should be on your fingers themselves, and then the feeling in the muscles that you have of the precision that is necessary to get the right note. So if you're getting the right note and your ears and your eyes say you're getting the right note, your 3rd and final port of call, your 3rd and final defense or attack for the note is your muscle memory. So as an experiment, what you should do is a few scales just to get used to the intonation, and then you should go for your piece. So let's try a D major scale now. Now with scales, you can go down rabbit holes, because scales is like training your precision, calibrating your aim. It's just a perfect thing. If you really want to hit that bullseye, if you want to hit that 5p piece or that nickel from like 100 yards, training at the firing range, at the blasting range, is how you're going to do it. Let's see if we can adjust our aim before we fire. So we're going to do the open D, then we're going to do the 1 on D. Now the 2 on D, F sharp. And the 3. Try to aim before you play. A. 1. 2. 3. So I was too quick on that 3 on A and I went over. Okay, once you've done your scale up and down a few times and you've calibrated your intonation, what you might like to try next is a piece of music, one of your favorite pieces of music. In my case, I'm going to just do an experiment and see how many notes I can get precisely on green, but at the same time play the music, so I won't rely too much on the app. In fact, I'm not even going to look at the app. You're going to be able to see if I'm getting it in tune or not. But for me, I'm just going to go with my dolphin technique. Hearing, sight, muscle memory. Let's do it, shall we? It's a great tune. Anyway, practice buddies, it was really great to talk to you again. Stay in touch. Keep requesting videos that you want. Most of all,
Keep practicing.
I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening, guys. If you found this video helpful and useful and it helped you to improve your intonation, please like, share and subscribe. See you next time.